Hello everyone, welcome again on RKI Tech TV. Here's Hussam digital designer from Giuliani Associates Architects. Today we're going to start the second lecture about architecture visualization. So we will start with 3D Studio Max and how we're going to set up a new scene and start working on that new scene. For example, if you are in a kitchen and you want to start cook something or whatever, so you have to clean some tools and prepare them and make them ready for you to go, so nothing gonna stop you when you already started. So this is what we're gonna do right now with 3D Studio Max. I'm going to show you how you start build up your scene before you start modeling and do lighting or whatever you want to do. So let's take a look to the 3D Studio Max interface, and I will start showing you where you can find those settings and where you can find them to start modify them. So the first thing, when you are looking to the 3D Studio Max interface, if you go all the way up, you can find a toolbar called Customize. So you go to the Customize and then Unit Setup, which is the first thing you have to do before you start building anything, because you don't want to go ahead and start modeling and then you end up modeling in the wrong unit, and then you want to waste more time to convert those units, and this is not going to really accurate for your model. So the first thing you want to look at it is what the unit scale you want. So for example, if you want to go with US standard, which is feet or inches, so you go ahead and select US standard and default unit, make it feet or inches, however you want to work with. And then the other thing, which is more important, the system unit setup, because even if you work with feet or inches here, this one, it may show millimeter or centimeter or other unit, which is the wrong thing to do. So basically by default, 3D Studio Max will start with inches. So keep it as is, inches, and then go ahead and select feet or inches from here and just hit OK. You will notice if you go and create any 3D object, you will notice here the unit will change to foot and inches over here, so you can put whatever dimension you want, or you start creating your 3D object in a viewboard, and then you go ahead at the parameters and just put 2 foot by 2 foot over here. And then you will have a box that has 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot, like that. So this is the way how you first start up with the unit setting and everything. And then the second important thing is the snap itself. So for example, if you want to start snapping and redraw some drawing that came from AutoCAD, and you want to draw over them and snap in between the vertices, so what you need to do, you have to go to snap over here in the main toolbars, and then you click on it and keep pressing, and that will show you 3 other options, which is 2, 2.5, and 3. And the difference between these 3 options is number 2. If you go ahead and maximize the viewport, number 2, it will work on the top view, so it's 2D dimension snap, and which is snap right now in between the grid point. As you notice, 2, if you change it to 2.5, that will work on the elevation, front or left or right or whatever other viewboard you choose. And if you want to work on the 3D viewboard, as you can see, 2 and 2.5 are not going to jump to the 3-dimension vertices or whatever, so you have to turn it from here to number 3. So that will allow you to jump to different level. The other thing, you want to make sure what you want the snap go to. Like for example, right now it's snapping in between the grids point, like you see. So if you want to change this and you want to make it like a jump to the vertices of the object or vertices of the shape like this, so you have to right-click over the snap option here, and that will bring a window that will ask you what you want to do with the snap. So for now, it's a grid point. So if I turn it off, you will see there is no snap at all. So what I want to do is go with the vertex, and then you will see the snap will jump to the vertex for 2D shape or for a 3D object like this. And this is a very important thing. You want to go ahead and start, and then you figure out that, oh, I have to turn the snap, and I have to set up the unit, and that just a waste of time. So the first thing you do before you start building your scene, go ahead and make sure that you work on the right unit, and the second thing, the snap itself. Now we set up the first thing at the scene. Before we start again, we have to start creating the layer, because it's very important to organize everything in different layers. Like I said, if you want to start with the walls, windows, doors, plans, whatever object you want to work with. So you right-click in here, and then from this menu, you showing the layer. So you check layers, and that will bring another windows, which is the layer windows. So you bring it and you can put it up here. And then you notice there is a manager for the layers, which is the existing. And then you can create a new layer. You can add any selection to that layer. You can actually select object in current layer. So for example, if I go ahead and start building like a box like this, and then I start creating a new layer, you will notice that will give me a windows that asks me what I want to name the layer. So for example, I want to name it box. And then it will ask me if I want to move the selection, which is the object I'm selecting right now, to that layer. So for example, I want to do this, so I hit OK, and you'll notice that the box takes the color of the layer. So if I go ahead and turn it off, the box is gone. So this is a good way to handle everything in different layers. So if I want to add another object, I create another object right now. Notice that any object you created right now, it will be at the same layer, because this is the layer is inactive right now. So anything you will draw, it will jump to that layer automatically. But what if I want to move this object to another layer? So you have to create a new layer and call it sphere. And then you hit OK. So you make sure that will move the selection to the new layer. So make sure that you select the sphere and you hit OK. Right now you have two layers. One is called box and the other one called sphere. So if you turn the sphere off and the box off, you see how they will turn on and off. And you can even freeze them, so you are not move them by accident, or you select them by mistake and you move them. So let's go ahead and turn them on, both of them. So now what I have to do if I want to move this selection to the box layer. So I select the sphere, and I will go ahead and select the box layer over here, and I just hit plus. And that will take the sphere and bring it to the box layer as well. So right now, if I turn it off, you can see both of them is turn it off. So this is just very quick looking for the layer option. So let's go ahead and see another thing. So we set up the unit, we set up the snap, and we set up the layer, however you want to start. So for me, for example, when I start putting drawing the line for the wall or wherever, the first layer I create is called wall, and I hit OK. And then I will go to create the control panel, and then I will go to create, then I will go down to shapes, and then to line, because I want to start draw a line in the viewport. So if you have an AutoCAD drawing, you can just go ahead and import it from the menu. You go to the import and import whatever drawing you have if you have one. Or you can even bring a sketch, and we will talk about this later on. For now, we will start with just a line. So make sure that the initial type of the creation method is corner, corner. And then we will go ahead and start very quick line like this, just to give you an idea how we can build stuff. And it will ask me if I want to close this shape, and I said yes. So now I create just very quick wall line. So if I want to give it a thickness to see how it looks like, I can jump to the modify. So the first thing you want to do, go to create anything you want, and then you have to jump to modify control panel over here, and then you can control whatever you just draw. So I'll maximize this windows, which is the perspective, by clicking on the lower right icon, maximize viewport toggle, and that will bring the whole perspective viewport and maximize it to fill the screen. So now we have the line. What if I want to move this vertex here, or make any change to this shape? First thing you want to do is turn off the snap, because if it's snap on, you cannot actually use those axes to move things. So you have to turn it off, and then you go to modifier stock, and here you have to type like the name of the object. Let's call it wall 1 and hit enter. And now you have a name for this object. This object is actually built from three things: vertex, which is those points, and then you have the edges, and then you have the whole thing, which is zip line, like this. And this is what we called it sub-object. So you have the object, and those three things is sub-object. And those very important if you want to go ahead and change anything. What I like it most about 3D Max, that the flexibility about the interface. For example, because this is very long menu over here, and you will waste time, go up and down all the time. So you can just grab it furthermore like this, and you have everything set up like beside each other, which is make it very quick to you to find whatever you want. And then, for example, if you want to play with the vertex here, you click on the vertex and you start moving them. So you click on that and move it based on the axis you want to move. So for example, if I want to move it over x-axis, I have to hover the mouse over the x-axis, and I drag and drop the vertices. That will allow me just to go an x-axis, not to any other axis, and that will limit the mistake. So if I want to go to y-axis, I have to hover over the y-axis and I move it like that. So as you can see, there's 3 axes. I can go ahead and just move it whatever I want. So what if I want to move it in between 2 axes, like y and an x? So you have to go in between, and you can see both of them, they shine with the yellow color, and that means that you can go in x and y only. So you are not going to z axis. But if you want to go in y and z axis, you go in between y and z, make sure they are both yellow, and you can go up and down like this. So this is the way how you control point or any other sub-object in the shape that you created. So if I go ahead to the segment and I select the segment, the same way I can go up and down and play with those segments, or even right click and rotate them in any way I want. And some of you may ask what we can do to make this line as a curve. So this is depend on the vertex type, and we have actually about 4 vertex type. If you click on the vertex and you right click on it, you will see 4 type of vertex: Bezier corner, Bezier, and corner and smooth, which is mean the way how the segment enter the vertex and out. So this is in and this is out from this vertex. So if I right click on it and I said smooth, you will see the in and out is going to be smooth from this vertex. If I right click and select corner, the in and out is going to be very straight. If I right click and make Bezier, that will give me two handles that allow me to control how I want a curve to look like. So this way, okay? And again, it depends on which axis you want to work with, like X and Y or whatever axis you want to work with. And the last type of vertex is Bezier corner, which is allow me actually to work with one handle at a time. So I can use it to create any tangent or any curve I want to do it. Notice here the line is really not very smooth, and if you go and focus on it, you can see like it's break down like this. And the way how to fix this, you turn the vertex off and you go to interpolation and you just add the steps like this. And the reason they did this in the 3D Max actually to allow you to control the size of the RAM that you're going to use, because if you have more steps, that means you use more RAM. So basically for something like this, you don't need any steps, so you keep them 6 or whatever. But if you have a plan that it has a curvature, so it's better if you have it with more steps like this. So this is just the first look for 3D Studio Max, and I'm very glad that you guys came back and watch us again. So thank you so much, and we will be soon uploading a new video. So keep in touch. Bye-bye.